What is up, everybody? Crypto Prepper here. Today is Thursday, March 5th, 2026. So, I wanted to start out this video with a quick update on the quote unquote risky bot that I did on HBAR. Day was that the second. Today's Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So, Monday, I set up this bot, and you can check out that previous video. But so far, it's seen quite a bit of activity. And it's even made like 12 bucks. All right, sweet. So, there's a quick update on that. And then uh, what I want to talk about next is, I've just got XRP pulled up here, and because it's an interesting one because it made that higher high in July versus, well, I know ETH and Bitcoin made theirs in October, where a lot of other coins, like, they hit their high last in January 2025. So what I got to thinking about was um, trying to find the best bot settings using these DCA bots to optimize the gains in a bull market. So we had what I did was I went from the timeline of April 6th when we had the tariff crash last in 2025, last year, yeah. And everything kind of went down, created our lower low, and kind of got everybody scared that I don't know how many people were scared. I wasn't, but I've been here for 8 years. I don't get scared anymore. But a lot of people might have been scared. So anyway, what I wanted to do was I set out to optimize the settings from for a bull market. So say you did buy the bottom and you started a bot right at the bottom, and what gains that would get you to the top. Of course, we never know where the bottom and the top is. So that's why I wanted to, you'll see my thought process. So what I did here was I set up my XRP USDC bot on Coinbase as normal. Started with $1,000 investment, then scrolled down to the bot settings. Just like always, our base order is 31.25, and then averaging orders amount 968.75. And so if you're new here, the reason I like to do that is on each of these order lines here, you double your position doubles in your investment. So that brings your DCA down really fast and then allows you to capture profit quicker, potentially quicker than if you didn't double this. So, and then if you add up all these, then you get $1,000. So what we do is we have our averaging orders quantity at 5. That gives us these 5 limit orders here, and then this averaging orders step percentage is the distance between these. So with that H bar one I did the other day, uh, I did it like around this 3% area, where typically it's what I've been doing is starting around 5, and 5 seems to be a nice overall number um, from my past videos, and so I wanted to try something a little different this time. So that's a major difference from normal, from what I've normally set these up at. But the amount multiplier, it starts out, I can't remember where it starts out when it defaults, but you can see as I slide this over how it changes the limit orders on the left. So you slide that all the way over to X2, that gives you that doubling effect, and then you will slide the step multiplier off. Then for our take profit, typically I use 5, but for this one I used 3.1, and ended up optimizing at least the time from that April 6th low to the January or the July 18th top, um, for XRP anyway. So not saying that these settings are going to work for every single coin, and they're definitely probably not going to work the same for every single um, bull market either, So what you might do, what I plan on doing, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but what I might plan on doing is um, creating a range of different settings with the shorter distance in between these limit orders to capture just the smaller falls that we see, and then maybe change the take profit percentage. So, moving on to these settings, you also want to go to your risk management, drop down here, and click off pump dump protection. So, most of the time, that is going to increase your gains if you take that off. Okay, and you can kind of see here if you know where to look, 21.12 for the 104 days between April 6th and July 18th. And um, I didn't bother trying to play around with this trading fee. This is my current trading fee on Coinbase. Yours is probably going to be higher, at least until you get your volume up, and having more and more bots, you're going to get more and more volume, taking your trading fees down. So you can see here, let's see. Well, this is May. What the heck? Oh, here we go. Okay, that was weird. So um, starting it here, let's see if I can zoom in, because it looks like it did capture some downside. And of course, this depends on the time of day that you set it up. So this one didn't get set up at the bottom, but um, got set up right here, and then it had quite a bit of action. It should have actually, here we go. That's a better representation. So say you set it up the morning of the April 7th. I thought I said April 6th, but sometimes when you click the before and after date, yeah, look, if April 7th to 7/19, so July 19th. So the dates aren't quite exactly the way I set them, but like I said, you're never going to catch the bottom, you're never going to catch the top. So a 21% uh, ROI for, I almost said APY because I typically run these for a year and calculate your return over the year, which would be your APY, annual percentage yield. So in that 104 days, these bot settings would have produced a 21% ROI. Now, it may not seem, you're like, well, yeah, but the price went up 127%, 124%. But like I keep saying, you're never going to catch the top, you're never going to catch the bottom. So I don't know how many people sold any position in July from this. So that's that. So that's what this um, what this gets you. And then um, so what I did, so those are the settings. Okay, sorry, I'm a little discombobulated. So now I'm going to go over to the next tab, and I'm going to have these exact same settings. I'm going to run through them real quick. So you see the exchange, the pair, the initial investment, or the investment. The base order amount is the same at 31.25, 968.75 here for the averaging orders, 5 for the quantity, 3 for the step percent. Our amount multiplier is on X2. Step multiplier is off. Our take profit is 3.1. And our pump dump protection is off. Okay. So then I did a 365-day back test on this. And here we go. So you probably saw, if you know where to look again, that this bot produced a 36% gain. And it ran it for the previous 365 days. So that was actually before our initial setup here where we calculated it from the bottom. So if you would have set it up on March 6th and ran it to March 5th, you're at a 36% APY. But it also, the last time it bought any was October 10th. So if you were to uh, stop this bot, you're going to lose out on money. And I don't like to see that. So this one may not be, I'm just trying to figure out how to word this. So it's not going to be these aren't settings like our typical 5, 5, and 5. If you want to watch my previous videos, you'll know what I'm talking about, 5, 5, and 5. Um, those are longer term. So this is a shorter term bot and 36% over, let's see, March to October. So I don't even know what that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 months. If you were watching the market and saw and listening to people like Blockchain Backer and saw that we broke some pretty hefty support here when we broke down on the morning of the 10th. And then of course later that day we had that nasty capitulation. So months leading up to that time, the blockchain backer was talking about expecting a capitulation. And I think he even mentioned it was one day he said within the next 48 hours. So, but I remember him talking about if we break that 280 support, it's going to be not going to be pretty after that. So, luckily, I was able to sell a good chunk of mine that morning when we broke that 280 support, and then I really started going heavy in these live bots. I've been using these in demo mode for over a year now, but at this point it was maybe 10 months. So I was pretty confident with everything and blah, blah, blah. So, but I went heavy with the live bots and have done, as you've seen on these tabs, so far 9.3% gains. And of course, not all of those are 4 months old. Some of them are only a month old now. But anyway, so if you were watching this and you saw, oh, hey, we just broke that support. I've already got basically 36%, maybe not quite at that point. You did get 36 at this point because these are still buying. So you realized, hey, we just broke this major support. I'm gonna close this bot out, take my loss on this last round of orders. And it's not going to be anywhere near that at that point. Now, if you close this out, you might just be break even when you look at the bot profit. Uh, so anyway, um, you could say you were looking at it and you could say, close this out. I'm going to take my 36% and run. That's not the way I like to set up these bots because most people may not want to, keep that close in touch with what everything's doing. So that got me thinking, uh, let's let's find the settings that would work really well from the top down to what we've seen so far. So hopefully this is pretty close to the bottom, but bringing it back to blockchain backer, he is talking, and even some other people are talking about swiping the lows one more time before we start working our way up. So I looked at these and I've ran this timeline before from the top here in July, but I think it was, well, I know the last time I did that was before this last February capitulation. And then just like before, we broke that 160, 160 support that we were kept nailing down, each time we got these wicks down, and some exchanges may have even gotten lower. I think on the 10th, um, Binance got down into the under the dollar. So I was like, well, let's rerun these and see what we can do settings wise. So I changed this up quite a bit to really optimize the the return for the timeline between uh, July 18th, July 17th, 18th to current day, March 5th, 2026. Okay, so um, you'll see this. I'm going to go through this a little slow because we did change this up quite a bit. The initial investment is still 1,000. The base order amount is still 3125. Averaging orders amount still 968.75. I just those numbers have been working really well for me, so I didn't really change those. But where I got to changing them up is the averaging orders per quantity and percent. So now you see I've got more lines underneath here. Excuse me. And they're not doubled either. So um, double using the amount multiplier in this case from this time to now on the top, July 18th to now, didn't really work out. But as you can see, the 7, 7, and then our amount multiplier and our set multiplier are off, and our take profit is 3%. Okay. And then our risk management pump dump protection is still off, just like always. So 773 instead of the 555. And then, of course, no amount multiplier. So you can see here when I ran at this timeline from July 18th to oops, March March 4th. Okay. Today's March 5th though. So here, that's probably why the dates are weird because this software is based in Europe somewhere. And so their dating is a little off. So we'll just go with that. So what we have is we still have the 230 days. That didn't change. And it basically got the top from the top to the bottom, and back testing these settings gave me that 20.01 percent gain, while the coin has uh, basically went down 70%. Let's see. Go over here to price range, and so current price is 61. Got down as low as 70% drop. Okay, so while the coin has dropped, this bot would have produced a 20% gain in 230 days. So then that got me thinking, what would my 365-day back test be? So I have that already pulled up, and because I didn't want to do it, and I wanted to show all the work here. So um, just like that other one, 1,000 here, bot settings here, 3125, 968.75, 77. These are both off, the amount multiplier and step multiplier, 30% take profits, and risk management pump dump protection off. So then a 365-day back test for these numbers gave a 31% APY. Plus, if you were to have this bot running, I don't know why my orders aren't showing. Here we go. They're populating. Plus, if you had this bot still running, it's still gonna catch that potential next move down to 85 cents if it gets down there. So you can see it really did a good job of capitalizing on that capitulation here on the 10th, and only had, I think it was just, let's see, Where's my here? Here we go. Uh, from June 5th to July 6th, it was pretty crappy. It didn't make any buys or sells at that point. So, let's see if the other one did. If this is the annual, yeah. So, if you had these other settings that we talked about, um, that I designed for the optimize the time from the bottom to the high. Let's see. Yeah, June was an active month. June and July was all that timeline was an active month. It was just March to April that was boring for that bot. So here's another instance where setting up multiple bots, even on the same pairing, with different settings, you're going to catch both ways. And so, um, maybe it's up to you if you want to go with that one where you have to pay more attention, or do like I did the other day where I set up this H bar and then with the intent of potentially closing it out at the end of the month or by the 23rd, whatever. So, but so far so good on this one. So it's looking nice. Okay, so the 773 gave us a nice. I really like the way this looks because we have all this activity. It's a really active bot. That way, it's always doing something. You're seeing activity, and except for this month here in the summer doldrums that we had for this bot in particular last year. Plus, I like to see these uh, limit orders underneath because ideally we run these for longer than a year. So if it can catch any extra fall here, and then of course it's going to capitalize on the move up just like it did here. All right, so if you are interested in setting up these bots, you can see I use the Bitscap trading platform. And if you use the link that I'm going to leave in the description, it does support the channel at no extra cost to you. And it is a referral link. And you can do everything that I've done in all these videos with these settings on this basic plan. Okay. So if you wanted to buy it just for a month at a time, you're going to pay 29 bucks a month. If you wanted to pay for the year, that you save 72 bucks for the year. And then if you can justify it, and I would recommend waiting until November. I know it seems like a ways off, but they have a 50% off sale where you can get the advanced or the pro for 50% off. I don't think they have that on the basic, but I know it's on the advanced at least. And you can save 50% on that. And you're going to be able to backtest up to 180 days versus only 30 days on the basic. So you can start out and do everything I'm doing with the basic. It allows you to have up to 10 of these active DCA bots. I haven't played around with the AI assistant. And then you could do also 3 active grid bots, which I've talked about in one video in depth and mentioned in a few others. So if you do use that referral link and help support the channel, I'm more than happy to run your coin, find a coin that you like, and maybe do a deep dive on it, especially if I haven't done one before on your favorite coin. So if you like the video, give me a thumbs up if you want to see more of these videos. Subscribe to the channel, and like I said before, leave me your favorite coin in the description or in the comments, and I will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.